Everyone. So excited for this live stream today. I hope your day is going well. If you're watching live or on the replay. So today's live stream, and I got the notes for it. Boom. And this is the thing about being very organized. I have a notebook that just about like there's nothing on this page. Just about every topic that I have made a video on, I have wrote down like notes, and I even have like page numbers, as you can see down here, of each page. And I have about, this is a pretty thick notebook. I have about 150, I have about 125 pages of just notes from videos that I've planned and have written down. And good afternoon, everybody. Say hey in the chat. I remember when I started this YouTube channel, and it's coming on 3 years. I think May makes 3 years that I've had the YouTube channel, that I've been active. But I think the beginning of June was when I posted my first YouTube video on this channel. And all this time, I've been writing information down that I've received in order to kind of like teach it to others, like teach it to y'all. I kind of like be teaching in videos. Hey, everybody. And so it's funny that, how they say, like, in order to teach something or in order to learn something, it's best that you teach it, because sometimes you don't register, it doesn't register like what you're actually saying until you teach it to somebody else or tell it to somebody else or like have that conversation, and then it gets set in stone. Hey, everybody. Peace, love and light. You know what they be saying. Love and light to everybody. Hey, everybody. So yeah, it's just interesting to see how much I've learned by teaching it and by talking about it, because I feel like when you can have thoughts in your head about a topic, but until you say it out loud and have conversations about it, even though even though I just be talking to a camera whenever I make videos, it's as if I'm talking to a person. Like, I'm actually talking and y'all can hear me live right now. But when I'm filming a video, I'm not actually talking to somebody. There's nobody to respond. So it's not a conversation, but in the same way, it's as if you have to have those type of conversations to really learn what you're talking about. So in essence, this is like coming up to be the third year that I've been on YouTube, that this channel has been here. And that's pretty special. And one of the most popular videos on the channel is a video titled "Why You Don't Fit In and Have No Friends," where I was wearing an orange shirt from H&M. I remember that shirt. I don't have it anymore. However, in that video, good afternoon, everybody coming in to the chat. In that video, originally, it was about, I think it was about like a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years now. And in that video, I was younger, more naive, I would say, not as wise, of course, because we get wiser every day. But I still enjoyed that version of myself, because at that time, I personally was in a position that I had, I guess, lost some friends that I was very close to. And not only did I lose them, they lost me too, because a loss is a loss for everybody. A gain is a gain for everybody. But we both gained something. And sometimes this is going to be obviously a live stream about why you don't fit in, have no friends, but also the process of friendships coming and going, finding out that maybe you don't have the sincerest of friends, and how to process that, and then how to be okay and accepting of that. And I was able to do that by kind of like sharing my story in that original video that I put out. And a lot of people resonated that I didn't expect it to be that big of like a response. But one funny thing is that it seems like most people relate to not fitting in. more people relate to not fitting in than people relate to fitting in somewhere. And I think not feeling like you don't fit in is actually a majority and not a minority. And the reason why is because a lot of people feel like that but don't actually say it. A lot of people may look like they fit in and look like they have friends and a crew, but inside they feel just like people who don't fit in. And so I just wanted to give an update. I have my notes over here in my journal that I'll occasionally be looking back and forth from. But of course, I want to continue. Oh, I'm trying to lift my chair. I'm trying to lift my chair up. Hold up. Okay. Anyways, so I don't know, where do I start? So I guess recently I realized that feeling like an outcast is something that is very abundant these days, just because I think, one, communication in between human beings is not as good as it used to be. And I think communication skills are a really good thing to have for everybody to be able to feel people on a different level. See a part of yourself in everybody else. And I think that's something that people lack more and more these days. And it was crazy. I had to go into isolation to feel more community. It's like the thing that you want or want to get, you kind of have to experience the opposite to get it. I did a search on YouTube and it seems like people don't like people. I love people and our differences. We all have something to learn from each other. I agree. I agree. And that goes to literally like what I just said about the ability to see yourself in everybody else. One thing that I think goes with the skill of communication and also of just respect for oneself is that we all ultimately want the same thing in life. If you really think about it, everybody in life just wants to be happy. Everybody in life just wants joy and peace to some extent. Now, what that may look like to different people will differ. However, the things that we do, the actions that we take, the decisions that we make, they all are influenced by our want for joy, for peace, for happiness, for belonging. And we all ultimately want to feel like we belong somewhere. And not feeling that can cause different things. But to see the general connection that everybody has because we all want the same thing was a big eye opener for me. And it was like, oh, I say I am you, you are me. And it's deeper than the words that come out of my mouth because the meaning is that we are all connected. We are literally one because it's all spiritual for me. But the way that I relate to people are on a deeper level. Whatever other people do, the reason that I'm able to, me personally, able to forgive, move on, release, is because what you reflect on somebody else is a reflection of yourself. So the judgment that you cast on somebody, you judge yourself with that same judgment. Whatever the anger that you cast upon somebody, that will come back to you. It's like everything is a boomerang. And so if you see everybody as a reflection of yourself, it makes it a lot easier to feel connected to people, even if you feel alone. 46, and the title alone spoke to me. Yeah, so if anybody has not seen the original video, I think believe I did like 2 videos on like not fitting in and have no friends. I've done a couple of them, but those are kind of like one of my most popular videos on the channel. And it's because a lot of people feel the same. And I realized that the goal is to get together so many people that feel like that or like that have felt rejected, A lot of people have commented. You can definitely look at the comments. So many people have shared their story that they feel like people try to make them feel stupid, feel dumb, feel like they're less than. One thing being isolated has taught me is that we all need is actually inside. Wow. Yeah, that's deep. And for those who don't really have a spiritual upbringing, I feel like it is more difficult for them. And I'm definitely not here to tell anybody what they should believe in, but I just know that what my core beliefs and values are in my relationship with God, with a higher power, with the source of everything, creation, that is just what I'm firm in. And that's what has literally got me through. That's literally what God literally speaks through me to provide the information and the wisdom that y'all see coming out of my mouth. Like, a lot of what I say is not from my own head. I can't come up with that by myself because, yes, even though I may be intelligent, a lot of you all are so intelligent in many different ways. It's not with my own words and with my own thoughts that I'm able to come up with all of this. It's literally divine connection that is bringing all of us together. Like, it's not the work of myself. I can't bring all of this about by myself. I'm just a human being, just like everybody else. However, my relationship with the divine, with God, with the higher power has helped me, like intervene through me literally to make this a thing. And that's just how it works. And that is just my truth. Hey, I enjoy your videos. Do you still work at the gym? Do you recommend it for somebody who wants a healthier lifestyle? I do not work at the gym anymore. So for those who don't know, I used to work at LA Fitness and I stopped working there around this time last year. And that's when my life did like a whole 180, honestly. I don't work there anymore. I used to sell memberships like at LA Fitness, and I enjoyed working there because it taught me a lot about health and fitness. But at that time, I was already teaching meditation. I was on the track to becoming a yoga teacher, and I really enjoyed the physical, like working out. But also, I was always interested in like the whole thing, mind, body, spirit. And I realized there's a lot of people who look physically healthy and like jacked and stuff, and they lift weights, but they're not actually emotionally in tune, or even like, or sorry, they can look healthy but they're not actually healthy. Like, there's so many people who lift weights but their blood pressure is high. Like, there's so many people, and it's what you eat too, it's your stress levels and everything. But for working out, I do recommend it all depends on what you want to do. Like, if you want to tone, like, yeah, you can lift a couple weights. I would recommend lifting weights if you want to tone. If you want to bulk up, lift heavy weights and do less repetitions. And that's a whole science because I do have a degree in exercise physiology. I stopped lifting weights just because it was a lot more on my knees, and I have knee issues. So I just practice yoga and do a lot of stretching and work on my flexibility. And that is better for me because I don't gain much weight. We're definitely collective. Exactly. Bingo. That's just my truth. And that's just what I know. So the spiritual aspect keeps me grounded. Me too. I'm more at peace and happy just by learning to love myself and always put myself first, with God leading me the way, of course. Yeah, definitely. And I mean, that like intervening is what kind of helps bring people together, because there are situations in your life that like may be tragic, and we probably won't understand them when exactly they happen. And it's crazy because when something that we perceive as tragic, when it happens at the time, we have no knowledge or wisdom of why it's going on. And we always try to like search for a reason, like why. And we like to be able to know why, because it gives us some sense of security. But the object is that sometimes we need to not know why. And not knowing why is what gives us the faith to believe in something that we don't have evidence for. And that's like, that's what faith is all about. It's like sometimes we as humans, because our mind is so small, and that's why we need divine wisdom and guidance. And that's why the spirituality aspect is so important for me, because we didn't create ourselves. Like, we're not going to understand every single thing that happens, but we can inquire and gain the wisdom about it. But we can't solve all of our problems. So when we try to put two and two together and we feel like we need evidence and we need a reason why and we need all of these things to bring us security, that forces us more to just believe in the divine more than believing in the physical, because you have to trust. You have to just trust that you're secure without the evidence that it is so. Like, faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. And so, like, for example, when you don't understand why you can't make friends, or you have a difficult time making friends, or you always feel left out, or whenever you feel like you've gotten close to people, they move away or they drop out or whatever, whether it's friendships or relationships, and you don't understand why. But it may not be your time to understand why until years later. I'm talking about years, months, years. And that is what happened to me. It all came together. But it couldn't be brought to my attention at the time it was happening, because I wasn't in the mental state to even comprehend the reason why when it happened. So that just shows like how small our mind, how small our comprehension is when it comes to like divine wisdom. Like, we don't know with our own mind. We need that guidance, and that gives us security. Spirituality really sets you apart because of the awareness that it gives you. Yep. Yep. And I mean, this is just a channel where, spiritually inclined people can come together, because I mean, if you don't have a spiritual walk, then I mean, it's okay too. I welcome everybody, literally. But I feel like my words and my messages speak to a certain group of people who just get it, who it resonates with. And if it doesn't resonate with you, then maybe it will soon later. But, and like I said, like I said, it might not resonate until days, years later. I think there's this meme of what's his called? Squidward on SpongeBob. And there's this meme and he's like in the bed sleeping, and it's like the meme's like, oh, when you forget, oh, when something that somebody said to you earlier that day finally processes with you, and the first picture is him with his eyes closed, and then the next picture is with his eyes open, like, oh my gosh, I just realized that. That's how it be for real. Loving your natural self within helps you so much mentally, and it will take you far physically. Thank you. And yes, I believe the same for everybody. It took me years to get this. Yeah, me too. Definitely. So glad I found your channel. Thank you. I'm so glad you found it too. So glad you found it too. So let me get into these notes that I have, because there were a couple of things that I did want to bring up that I haven't said yet. So I feel like there's a perception that there is a place to fit. And like I said earlier, I personally sharing my story, I feel like helped a lot of people, a lot of other people. So I'll try to open up and share my story more. However, when I filmed the first video, I was going through a lot of changes. I was basically awakening spiritually. And the people that I was hanging around at the time were they were interested in things that I wasn't really interested in anymore because I just matured out of certain things and certain activities and even just certain conversations. And so it was like specifically one time I realized like I was talking to like one of my closest friends on the phone and I was talking about starting this YouTube channel. I was literally telling them about starting this YouTube channel and about conversations that I was having with God about I don't even remember, but conversations I would have having with God and things that I was realizing about your spiritual and how it connects to your mental and like physical things that I was started to feel in my body, and how I discovered meditation on accident, like just sitting and receiving messages from God. And it was as if like I was talking to like anybody. Like it was as if I was just talking and it was just not registering with them what I was saying. Like it was as if we were on two different playing fields of existence, planes of existence. And I felt so distanced from the people around me during that time. And I can't lie. I can't lie. I cut some people off. I didn't plan to do it, but I did it. And I know that there were probably some hard feelings from the other side. I know that. And it's sort of like sometimes you can feel it. You can feel other people's energy without them talking to you. You can feel the tension. And there was a lot of baggage that I had to release at that point in my life. And then I went into a period of isolation. And what that entailed was spending a lot of time praying, reading the Bible, talking to God. I mean, I was reading a lot of things that were not related to Christianity at all. And I can't lie, the whole, I guess, new age, what they call like new age information, some of it seeped into my subconscious. And I have to do a whole other video on that because I wouldn't say that I have a testimony on it, and but it's a big revelation that I realized the difference between the difference between us thinking that we are, little g gods, and submitting to God like creation. And there's a whole line between that. And that is the line between you deciding for yourself what's right and wrong and allowing God to tell you. And that's basically the difference. And believe it or not, that's basically the difference between good and evil. Like when you realize the origins, and we have both in us. We have good and bad, just like the sun and the moon, just like the left and the right, just like feminine and masculine. We are all opposition. We are all walking contradictions, if you think about it. Everybody has evil, everybody has good. No one is completely one thing. I don't want to get too off the topic, but those are some things that I was slowly realizing, and it's as if I couldn't put it into words back then, now that I can now, but I now understand the reason why the people that I had to separate from, I had to, and it's been years now, and I'm just realizing things that I was going through back at the time. So just like a little mini update. I'm gonna get to the comments in I'm gonna get to the comments in a little bit. Just like a little mini update. Since then, I do have other friends. I do have friends that are not as close. I'm not as close with. What my friendships used to look like is I used to have friends that I talked to like every single day, that I may have hung around every single day. And I think the main reason for that was because I was in college when this happened. Also, I was just a lot more influenced by the people around me. And I think that's a big thing. If you are a spiritually inclined person, You don't have room to be influenced by other human beings. You don't have that much room to be to change so much with the where the wind blows, you just go. Like you have to be rooted because you have a certain position that is important. Everybody's position in this world is important. But basically, you've answered the call, so to speak. You've answered the call, and that calling can bring you into a season of isolation, but just know that it is for a plan that's greater than what we can comprehend. And so when we go into that season of isolation, it's a time that we can't be so influenced by the outside world. All day, we're just hearing so much information to our senses, like things that we see, things that we listen to on the music, on the music, on the radio, on whatever, Spotify, Apple Music, I don't know, the things that people tell us, and we're taking in so much information, and every single bit of information that we take through our five senses, we have to filter it out and decide if we need it in our subconscious or not, because our subconscious rules 95% of what we do and say and think. So if you have a plan, or it's not your plan, it's God's plan. But if you're part of God's extravagant plan that you can't even comprehend within your mind, but God is speaking through you, moving through you, and you may not even recognize that God is doing that. You can't have a lot of distractions around you, and sometimes distractions are just eliminated for you so that that plan can be fulfilled. And to complete my story, the friends that I have currently, we don't talk every day. We're not as close as the friends that I used to have. And that season of isolation made me realize why friendships in that aspect are so important. So that's why I was saying in the original video that if you have if you have friends, but you notice that you have friends that maybe you want to be closer to, or you want those tight knit bonds, like some people even said like, oh, I want a friend group. Accepting that that may not be your case is okay, because sometimes we can notice that it's better for that not to happen. Like it's better to not have distractions because we can actually be more mindful, and we don't need those distractions anyway. Some of the things that people do that we wanna be a part of that crowd. A lot of times it's for our own fulfillment, because there's something within us that feels like a void, and we want to fill that. Just found your channel and in introverted and misunderstood often. I'm glad I can embrace it. Yes, I'm glad too. Do you believe you have some sort of a higher purpose? Like now you feel like you are actually putting the pieces together? Yeah, and I believe I just kind of like answered that in a nutshell. I mean, I'm still processing everything, and we're always processing because our life is just like a huge processing thing. But yeah, I believe that everybody has some sort of higher purpose. Like I'm not in any way trying to say that the people who we may feel like we need to separate from, or the people who are those distractions, don't have a higher purpose too. I think that everybody has the opportunity to have a higher purpose. But the thing is, some people are so ignorant, like ignorant in the terms that like they ignore their calling. They ignore it, and they ignore it over and over and over again, that eventually it's just like, okay, well, there's this voice in the back of my head telling me to do something, but I've been ignoring it so much that I've just let it numb out. I've just let it numb out. And so they're so ignorant to it that they just let it fade away. And basically, yeah. So I believe everybody has a higher purpose. Like, I don't want to make myself out to be any sort of special person. I believe that great, I believe that, you know, people who are great are just regular people doing great things. It's not about like, I believe it's not about like who you are. It's just about what you do. And like, what is your ability to listen? Just like listen to what you are called to do, basically. So I think that yes, Carmen, to answer your question, I have some sort of higher purpose, just like everybody else, I feel like. And now, do you feel like you are actually putting the pieces together? Yes, definitely. You need to do more of this podcast, maybe. Yeah, so the crazy thing is, me and one of my friends had started a podcast recently, but we haven't been able to get together, mostly because I've been really busy. Well, we both been really busy, but we made a podcast together. I think we put out like 3 episodes or something like that, and it was kind of like controversial too. We made a podcast about like sex and spirituality. Um, I think toxic things that religion taught us, and something else. I think what happens when you die or something like that. I don't know. Hi everybody coming in. Let me know. I mean, yeah, say hi in the chat if you haven't yet. I feel like everything happens for a reason. Our lives are going to be inevitable. It's just the way we accept it. Yeah, I feel like it too. That's honestly exactly what karma is. A lot of people think that karma is either like doing good things and then you get good results, or like doing bad things and you get bad results. But I'm learning actually that life is not about good and bad. Um, it's more so, how do you respond to the adversity that life hands you? A lot of people think that the things that happen to them in life are things that they deserve. Like if and this is why I love reading the Bible. Even if you're not Christian, I just like recommend everybody reading the Bible, and I'm not here to try like, convert everybody or whatever, but it's just what is so true to me because I'm just going to tell you about this dude named Job. So Job was a dude that had everything, right? The story is crazy. You actually read the Bible, that the Bible is juicy, like juicy. Job was a dude, he had everything, okay? Look, this is in the Bible. If y'all don't believe it, read it. Okay? God is in heaven with his heavenly council, and then Satan, there's a lot about the Bible that is so misread, because Satan doesn't have a name. It's just the Satan. The Hebrew for Satan is the adversary. Satan doesn't have a name. It's just the adversary. Boom. So the Satan came up to God in heaven, because the Satan was an angel, came up to God and was like, "Hey, Job, he's only obedient to you because he wants to get the things that he wants. Like, he's only obedient to you so that he can get what he wants." So the Satan says to God, "God, let's see if I strike Job with grief, will he still be obedient to you?" So God allows Satan to strike Job with grief. And then boom, Job loses everything. He had a lot of wealth. He loses everything. Then Job starts to like ask God, like, why? Like, why did that happen? Like, did he do something? Like, do good why do bad things happen to good people? And that's what we ask ourselves all the time, right? And then God came to Job and was like, "Well, Job, look here. Look here. God actually like offered that up the idea of allowing Job to be God for a day, and kind of gave him the insight that, like, y'all ever seen the movie Evan Almighty, when Morgan Freeman came up to God like as came up to Evan as God. Evan was Jim Carrey. And Jim Carrey allowed, he got to be God. And like everything was like shambles, because when we try to be God, like when we try to be creator of everything, our mind is so small as a human being that we can't comprehend the complexity of life itself. So the moral of what I'm saying is that Yeah, bad things will happen to good people, good things will happen to bad people, but like that doesn't mean we deserve it. That's not what it means. That's not what karma even is. It's like the adversity that life hands you, how do you respond to it? And the ways in which you respond to it, like if life hands you adversity and you're like, "Oh my gosh, like bad things always happening to me. This is always happening. Why?" But if something adverse happens and then maybe you cry about it for a little while, but then you're like, "Okay, let's try to see the positivity in this. Let's slow down the breathing, calm down, meditate, do whatever I need to do." Then those two reactions will get you different results. It's not about doing good things and then getting good things because you deserve it because you were good, or doing bad things and getting bad things because you're a bad person. And that's why I don't believe in bad people, good people. It is, how do you respond to your adversity? How do you respond to the situations in your life? Good and evil have to roam around in the world because one can't exist without the other. And honestly, they be working together. And yeah, so let me get to these comments. But yeah, that's, it goes deep. It goes really, really deep. Really, really deep. Yeah, human beings are social beings, so that gets difficult times, especially when you know it's a distraction. Yeah, it can. And then that also goes with the whole like self-love thing, because it can show you that it's better to be alone and undistracted than it is to be with somebody and distracted and confused. Because honestly, people can have so much influence on our thoughts and our psyche, because whatever their values are, we hang around them. We literally are some of the five people that we hang around. So like, if that group decides to like sway this way, then you'll sway with them. If they decide to sway that way, then you'll sway with them. And it's hard to be grounded within something firm if you're always in the crowd, because you are literally that sum of the five people. So those five people, boom. I didn't mean to use my middle finger, but you're right there in the middle. So wherever those five people go, there you are. There you are. But if you're outside of those five people, if you're like over here, but maybe you hang around them, you know what I'm saying? But you're not like immersed in the group, it's very easy to resist distraction and just be your own person. That's another thing. Like, a lot of us don't even know who we are without the people around us. That's crazy, because the people around us literally can change how we walk, how we talk, how we dress, what type of movies we like to watch. And then we lose like who we even are as a person. What is your favorite book from the Bible? Mine is two Esdras from Apocrypha. I'm sorry, I don't know that book unless that's Hebrew. But I have like studied the actual like origin of certain words. The Hebrew words that was translated from Hebrew to Greek to Latin. Greek, yeah. Okay, so to answer your question, my second Esdras, second, what book is that? I don't know that book. I think, well, it honestly, like, all the stories about Jesus are my favorite. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. I mean, they're the same story, but just told by different people from different perspectives. I think my favorite one out of those is Luke, though, because each perspective shows the character of Jesus in a different light. It's interesting. It's very interesting to read. Hayes from South Africa. Hey, what's up? South Africa. I'm not sociable at all. Well, there's ways that you can work on it and get better. I mean, I believe you can get better at anything. You can develop certain skills. For example, a lot of people are not good at eye contact. Oh, okay. So Esdras is Ezra, the book of Ezra. Okay, I read that book. Yeah, yeah. That's what's up. Okay, that's the Greek word for Ezra. Okay, cool. Okay. Anyways, I just looked it up. Yeah. So like, for example, some people some people can't make good eye contact. That is something that you can easily practice making eye contact with. A lot of people who may have social anxiety, it may be difficult for them to meet people and make friends and like talk to people, but just practice, you know, reminding yourself to look people in the eyes. And it will be awkward at first. However, well, don't stare at people, but like look them in the eye, like every once in a while, like glance in the eye. But I feel like it's all about your intention with it. Like, is your intention to listen to people when they're talking, and then when you talk to them, you can like drift your eyes back and forth. Another thing is changing, yeah, so like things that change your body language to create more openness. Because when you change your body language, mind and body are connected. So when you change your body language to be confident, then you'll have more confidence to like talk to people. So yeah, sometimes the bad things are needed to happen, shape you into who you want to be, and also sometimes things are just meant to be. So let's learn to not identify things good and bad, and let's learn to observe. Yes, yes, that's the key, and that's what meditation has taught me, to just observe. And my favorite meditation, I do this every day. I just observe thoughts or sounds or sensations. And I can meditate if it's windy outside. I can meditate if somebody was downstairs like clinking pots and pans for 20 minutes. I can meditate for the whole 20 minutes because you learn to label things that come up, not even like as distractions, right? But just like as natural things. If a cell phone rings while you're meditating, excuse me, if a cell phone rings while you're meditating, well, excuse me again, it's just a cell phone. Like cell phones ring. Sometimes we can get upset at like natural things that happen. So, oh, I'm sorry your work was annoying. Apple tree. Oh yeah, there are a couple hidden books. It's crazy like in the Bible like that Jesus, and I'm like reading, the Bible, the Bible, the mainstream Bible that people know, like cover to cover, like actual page by page, and like comprehending it. But I mean, there's so much information that it's difficult to do that. But there's a lot of hidden books because like in the mainstream Bible and the I guess like Christian Baptist Bible, because there's actually like other Bibles for like Catholicism and stuff like that. But in the mainstream Bible, it stops when like Jesus is like at age 13, and then boom, like it goes way into the future when he's like, what is it, 32? Because I think he passed away when he's like, or passed away, but it was killed when he was like 32, 33, I think. His 30 year. But what happened within those years of the adolescence? I would like to know. But there are stories taken out of the Bible that we know today. I mean, there are many stories I know taken out. I've really improved at eye contact. I still struggle with social anxiety, but I see myself getting through it eventually. Definitely. I mean, technology doesn't help, but you can start by making your body language more approachable. And I have to get off in a little bit. I'm gonna run to teach a yoga class. People start noticing your energy and now want some of it to fill and want some of it or fill themselves up with you. Yeah, that's so true. There are energy leeches, which is something that, when people say protect your energy, that's what we talking about, like them energy leeches. And I remember I made a IG reel about this. Like there are two types of people when you walk into a room. One, when they walk in, like people can feel their energy, but it's like good energy. Like they light up a room, they add value to people. And then there's another person who they walk into a room and like all the flowers wilt because they suck the energy out of things. And plants are living things too, just like us. They just can't talk, but they communicate with us too. And those two types of people, notice which one you're hanging around. And if you're hanging around energy leeches, most likely you'll be drained from it because it is draining, especially if your light shines bright. I thank you for your time and your help. You're welcome. Thank all of you for your comments, for listening, for watching, for subscribing. If you're not subscribed, what you doing? Subscribe. A lot of things are labeled now. Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure what you're talking about like specifically, but labels on like conditions and stuff, you know. There's a label for pretty much any mental I like to call it deviation from normalcy because what determines normal behavior? But there's anything that's deviated from normal, there's a label on it, in the DVSM, which is something, it stands for something, but I know that it's all the collections of disorders. We need a session in which you will teach us meditation. I really need it. Please keep up the good work. You are helping a lot. Thank you. And I do have a meditation membership. It's in the description box of all of my videos, including this live stream. So you can go to my website, holisticfitmeditation.com. I don't know how to send a message. Can I send a message here? No. I Yeah, go to the link in any of my description boxes, holisticfitmeditation.com. That's my website. So I do have like a members area where like members we'll practice like 3 times a week meditation and yoga, or you can just do the meditation. And we do a breath work, alternately breathing through your nostrils like this, and that balances the left and right side of the brain, left and right side of the body. Also, we do meditation when you notice your breath without changing it, and that allows you to notice your thoughts, sensations without judging them, without labeling them. And then we also do body scan meditation. So we do those 3 times a week, and you can practice that with me 3 times a week. Like I said, a link in my description box. So go ahead and join so you can start practicing. But I do have a couple of videos, I think, here on the channel. Also, I have a holistic fit meditation. The link is also in the description box of all my videos. I have another YouTube channel that I don't mention a lot that has only YouTube shorts on it, but has little meditation tips and stuff if you want to look at that. Neurodivergence, I've heard of that. I don't know a lot about it, but I know it's something like it's a newer phrase. It's newer to people, but the experience is not new. It's just another word to describe. It's just a word to describe like another thing that people are going through or that people experience. I feel like I might be an energy leech because I'm so needy working on it. I don't think needy correlates to being an energy leech because sometimes I feel like some people really need a community around them for support. But I feel like there's a difference between being support and stealing energy. There's a difference, and the difference is like your intention. Like people can low key like have a malicious intent, and it's a part of like their subconscious, like something is unfulfilled within themselves, and I think it's all about the intent. So I don't know. I can't really say just off of your comment that you might be an energy leech, but just because you're needy. When do you do this again? So I try to have live streams every week, and I'll have them either on a Wednesday or on a Sunday. But I don't want to like say that's set in stone and then mess around, have one on a Monday. But those are usually the days that I'm available, Wednesdays and then Sundays. So, hey, so I'm sorry for those who just got here because unfortunately I gotta run. I gotta drive to VA. But like I said, I will try to notify you all like 2 days before when I have a live stream and also post it on my YouTube story so everybody knows. But this was a great conversation. Thanks to everybody who attended. Thanks to everybody who commented, to everybody who didn't comment but just watched or leave a like so people can find this live stream. If you have any video suggestions, I love to hear y'all suggestions. Comment them in the comment section afterwards. Thanks, y'all. Have a great rest of your day, night, evening, morning, and I'll see you next time. Bye.